I mean, if Gideon Sar is genuine in accepting the Armenian genocide, he should study it, because what the Turks did to the Armenians is very similar to what the Israelis are doing to Palestinians right now as we speak. Starve them to death, displace them, force them to go through a death march through the Syrian desert. I mean, the atrocities are very similar, but Israel denies that they're carrying out genocide in Gaza. Now, Armenia's prime minister has weighed in on this, and I'm proud of the way he weighed in on it. Here's what he said. We believe that not entering into the issue of the weaponization of the Armenian genocide is in the interests of the Republic of Armenia. And he is right about that. Because what Israel is doing is weaponizing the slaughter of 1.5 million Armenians for their own little war purposes, their own little war aims. They are trying to build up toward a war against Turkey, and that is what this is about. And so they're disgusting. They just are. Okay, the Israeli government is absolutely disgusting, and I'm glad to see other fellow Americans weigh in on this similarly. Here is Serge Tankian. He is the lead singer who denied the Armenian genocide, but in this case, he's a vocal critic of Israel and what they're trying to do here. Let's take a look.
For many years, Israel's government used AIPAC to lobby the U.S. Congress to not recognize the Armenian genocide, to prevent Congress from recognizing the Armenian genocide due to their relationship with Turkey, their intelligence sharing with Turkey, etc. Today, the Netanyahu cabinet decided to recognize the Armenian genocide of 1915, a genocide that led to Hitler thinking that he could do what he could do to the Jews in the 1930s and 40s. The fact that this government is already committing genocide in Gaza and Lebanon, decided to recognize the genocide of my grandparents, is the worst thing that they could have done to Armenians by using our history, our genocide, our pain to their political advantage.
That's right, F you. And, you know, I mean, would anyone be surprised by Israel doing this, by weaponizing the pain and suffering of others for their own, war aims? And if you don't know what I'm talking about here, we have been covering all the various statements made by all these various Israeli politicians and public figures. They're itching to go to war with or against Turkey and Egypt, by the way. And here's what I'm talking about. Let's take a quick look at this compilation. I'll bring you in, Cenk.
A new Turkish threat is emerging. I want to be very clear. Turkey and Qatar have gained influence in Syria, are seeking influence elsewhere and everywhere throughout the region. And from here, I warn, Turkey is the new Iran.
15 years from now, Israel will have a war with Egypt. The Muslim Brotherhood would eventually take over Egypt. The Muslim Brotherhood, which is a Sunni jihad, now after we weaken the Shia jihad, will be a threat to the world. Turkey is now taking over.
I'm not so sure that we will have as easy a time with the Turks as we've had with the Iranians. I've been following Turkish military doctrine, and
the storm is coming in the Middle East.
The storm is coming. We have to be prepared for the next war, which will be probably against Turkey and Egypt.
Turkey channels first money to what Israel perceives, what Israel sees as nothing short of terror cells in the West Bank. Turkey is hosting all these people, allowing them to act freely, send money to the West Bank, create terror cells in the West Bank. It is clearly a worrying issue, and Turkey has been able to encircle Israel with its proxies in the West Bank, in Gaza, in Egypt.
We need to ensure that Erdogan doesn't create a new alliance of radical Islam Sunni version, meaning an axis between himself, Julani, Qatar, and Hamas.
So this is all about evoking Turkish officials. And I want to be clear about one other thing. Israel provided the arms, the weapons to ethnically cleanse Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh, which Armenians call Artsakh. That's what they did. And they have the effing audacity to pretend like they're the good guys and they're looking out for the Armenians. Israel accounted for 69% of Azerbaijan's arms imports between 2016 and 2020. and their Israeli drones, LoRa missiles, cluster munitions, they were all used in 2023 to ethnically cleanse Armenians from Nagorno-Karabakh, 120,000 of them. Cenk, back to you.
So now, the disgusting liars called reporters in this country will say, what? They're recognizing genocide.
Right.
Isn't that a great thing? Okay, so then let's break that down. Well, if that's so obvious and good, which it is, no question, right? It's a good thing to recognize the Armenian genocide. Then why didn't they do it earlier? I mean, remember, they suffered the Holocaust. So you would think that they would have incredible sympathy for anyone else that suffered a genocide.
They're not capable
But
of
for
that.
this entire time, from 1948 to today, they didn't have any sympathy for the Armenians. By the way, why? Yes, that Armenian expert is correct. It's because a lot of people don't know this. Israel and Turkey had an enormous alliance, okay? And they did a lot of trade back and forth, and the alliance was so strong that AIPAC helped defeat the recognition of the Armenian genocide by the Americans.
Yep.
Okay? So Israel was actively arguing against recognizing the Armenian genocide this whole time. Is it because they thought it didn't really happen? No. They just didn't care about the Armenians. They wanted to use them for their own political purposes.
They care about the Armenians, Cenk. I mean, when it comes to the Armenians in the Armenian quarter in Jerusalem, ask those Armenians how the Israelis treat them. They care about them in the wrong way, right? Brutalizing them, standing by and doing absolutely nothing as Israeli settlers terrorize them. That's how Armenians are treated in Israel. Okay, so they do care about Armenians, just not in the way that we would hope for.
And they were against recognizing the Armenian genocide up until just now, okay? And there's no excuse for that, especially if you're Israel, but they did that because everything's about Israel and they don't care about any other human being on planet Earth. So, and if you're in favor of recognizing genocide because you're such a moral country, then why don't you recognize your own genocide? Or maybe you could actually stop the active genocides you're doing right now in Gaza, the West Bank, Lebanon, and everywhere you're attacking. No. So obviously this isn't about their moral compunctions to recognize a genocide. And you saw from the video clip, there is no question that they're using it as a propaganda tool to start more wars.
Yes.
Right? So now, I will tell you this: they say the storm is coming, and we're going to attack after we're done with Iran. Okay.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, we're going to attack Turkey and Egypt. Why? Because they're fascist. So, but now I'm waiting for the U.S. media. The U.S. media hasn't really weighed in on this yet, so we can all see it together. Turkey is the second largest army in NATO, our top alliance. Okay, they're a bulwark against Russia and by the way, Iran as well, and they've been an incredibly important strategic ally, I suppose, to Israel that has done nothing but harm to America. Turkey has protected America over and over again, including in the Cuban Missile Crisis. Turkey ended it by withdrawing missiles from Turkey, and that's how we got the deal. So we didn't go to nuclear war. But once Israel orders that Turks be called terrorists, and you just saw them say they're terrorists, proxies, all the same thing that they use against Arabs and now Persians. And now they're going to say it about Turks. My guess is the U.S. media, since they work for Israel, will now all start calling Turks terrorists, even though they're our top ally in NATO.
Does Israel not understand, or the Israeli people, do they not understand that all these actions that their government is engaging in has so far made them less safe?
Well, it's so obvious.
Less safe.
But you see, they're so blind, Anna, because they're in a cult. They're in like one of the most thorough, deeply held cult I have ever seen. So if you tell an Israeli, hey, attacking literally every single neighbor of yours, and by the way, Iran, Turkey, and Egypt all have 80 to 90 million people in them. There's significant militaries.
Yes.
And Turkey's in NATO. Attacking them is not going to make you more safe.
No, it's
not. A lot of people have won wars against Turks or Persians, right? But you're a country of 9 million people. No, if you look at the public opinion polls in Israel, attack all the Turks and the Persians and the Arabs and take all their land. Hey, that's the polling. Look at the polling. They're saying that the Israeli government has not been barbaric enough, and that's why Naftali Bennett, now currently leading against Netanyahu, says, I'll be even more of a monster and more of a terrorist and more of a fascist than Netanyahu. Now, I've asked a couple of Turks I know that live here, etc., and What do you guys think? Because now they're like starting to threaten Turkey. Every single one of them says the same thing. Come get some.